Hey guys, so this is a video I made after a couple years now of making goals, accomplishing goals, failing goals, and I want to touch deeper on two things: size of goals and difficulty of goals, because I think these two are important in perceptions of the goal at hand. Of the size of the goal, you can separate out into bigger goals and smaller goals. Now, if we take a small goal, we're essentially saying it's a manageable goal that can be done in a short period of time. And a bigger goal is uh, generally the combination of smaller goals over a long period of time. Now, for many people, when they set up a goal, they might not realize that they've set up a big goal, because these smaller goals that they initially set up are ones that they find manageable, that they can do. And the bigger goal they set up takes a while. And so if you're feeling resistance towards what you're doing, if you feel like it's um, taking a while, then it's probably a larger goal. It's probably a big goal, even if you don't see that at first. And so if you could break that up into smaller goals, smaller manageable goals, you'll have a better shot at finishing that bigger goal. And second is difficulty. So I've been playing video games since I was a kid, and when they'd introduce difficulty, they'd introduce all the way from easy to the hardest difficulty, which they call a myriad of names. And so when you would be setting out to do a campaign that's easy, essentially for your character and the many enemies you'd face, you could say mini goals on the way to accomplishing the bigger goal, which is completing the mission. You would notice that in some games they would be limiting you, the player, and they'd be making the enemies much harder to face. And so what does this mean for real life? It means that a lot of these smaller goals we have that we find easy, it's because it's manageable, yes, but it's also we haven't limited ourselves, and we haven't made the goal at hand harder. We haven't added more variables that we can handle. And if we find something difficult, when you think about it, it's actually because there's many parts of this goal that you find beyond your reach, beyond your competence at the moment. And so a lot of times we'll have a harder time completing these hard goals because of that. And so if you can break up, just like how you break up a bigger goal into a smaller goal, if you could break up that hard task into smaller, easier task, you'd have better shot. And so overall, if you focus on those two things, ask yourself when you plan something out, how big is my goal? And if you find that it's manageable, then break it up into, then I guess you won't necessarily need to break it up into smaller goals, but I recommend it. But if you find this goal to be too big, you'll obviously need to break it up into smaller ones. And if you find the goal at hand too difficult, then look at it, break it up, if you can, into smaller, manageable, easy goals. And so I hope that this helps out someone out there, just focusing on those two things, especially. Those small things might have a big change, and the rest of your in the rest of your goal setting. So I hope this helps.